Y'all, welcome back to another video, and as you can see from the title, I'm going to be explaining the best keyboard and mouse settings and also the best graphic settings for your game. You can get the most FPS, you can get the best aim just using these settings. Let's be honest, let's be real. If you can't be good with using these settings, you might be trash. I don't know. I mean, it's all up to you, you know. So first of all, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to get into my mouse settings. All right, so this is a software. I use a SteelSeries. There's a software called SteelSeries GG right here. Now most mouses most mouses have softwares for it. Now in the softwares, you have all these good things here. I don't know really what these do. This is kind of BS in my opinion. I can't even open the settings. How does that make sense? I don't know. But we're gonna be going to engine. We're gonna be going to our mouse. You can close out of this. This is basically all my settings. Now, my DPI here, set to default. Everything is basically default 800. I don't really mess with none of this stuff. You got your acceleration, deceleration, ankle snapping. So if this is all important to you and you know how to use it, these are my settings that I use. So before I do actually get into the graphic settings, I do want to show you guys my MSI Afterburner, settings that I have for my GPU. So I do have it overclocked. And basically you can overclock your graphics card from here. So power limit, I have this all at 184. Core clock, now if you do update this a little bit, it just know most of the time it's going to crash your PC. So I just keep it at 100. It's usually set at default 0, but 100 seems to be the medium for me and my graphics card. I use the RTX 2080 Super 8 gig, 8 RAM. From a memory clock, I keep it at 780. I can go higher, but I just rather stay down here. Fan speed, when I play games, I usually turn it up to around 84, 85, so my GPU clock is always cool. But since I'm recording, I don't want the background audio to record. I just keep it at 50. So with that being said, let's go into the settings. So for my aim, we're obviously using keyboard and mouse. I haven't used controller since like Modern Warfare 2019. I think it was like the first few seasons. And that's pretty much the last time I used a controller. So for mouse sensitivity, we're at 20. A lot of people think it's high for some reason. I don't really think it is. It's kind of mid. I mean, if anything, I gotta go higher, a little bit higher, but that's what I use. ADS sensitivity multiplier low zoom, this is like for your smaller reticles and shit like that. I use a 0.5. it's a little more steady, it's a little slower, hit more of your shots obviously. As you can see, it says 3 times or lower, so that's you for there. Setting multiplier to 1.0 will keep the default ADS, so it's quite lower. It's about 0.5 lower. ADS sensitivity multiplier high zoom, it's with snipers. I use a 1.2. I like to quick scope, so that's why it's up that high, and I like to drag when I do snipe, so that's that. And basically for the rest of these, I haven't messed with. Maybe this one, which is set to gradual, so that's that. The rest of these are basically default vertical sensitivity multiplier, that's 1. Relative monitor distance coefficient, someone told me you have to divide the length of your monitor by the width and you basically get the number there. So I mean, that's what you guys gotta do, I guess. I don't know, either that one, yeah, it was this one. So 1.33 is what I use. For gameplay, the only thing that I've switched here is my crouch. My crouch is basically now my ping. So let's go here. Left CTRL is my crouch now, and prone is Z. And when I ping, I use C now. Now the reason why I did this was because I spilled soda on my keyboard. Yeah. I just wasted like $80 on the drain. So now my keyboard is kind of like messed up. My C key is like stuck. And the only way I could fix it is if I solder it off, which is basically burning the metal behind on the motherboard to pop the keycap off and clean it up. So I don't really have the tools for that, and I honestly don't want to buy that and do all that. So I just reset my keybind to ping, basically is what I did, and made prone Z and left CTRL my crouch and slide. And so far, I mean, it's worked for me. I haven't really had no issues. At first I had to like get used to it, but now I'm pretty much good. And that's pretty much it. Some of these I don't even use because I don't play Warzone and shit like that. So all this is pretty much default I mean, if you want to know what it is, just pause the video and just look at it. For graphics, this is also important. We want to be on full screen. I have one monitor that I'm using, the single one that I use. I have two monitors, but for my gaming, it's obviously the first. Refresh rate is 165. Gameplay VSync, you want this off, unless usually does the opposite of what it said it's supposed to do, so it's kind of trash. Menu VSync disable, obviously. NVIDIA reflex low latency, you can have this boosted or normal. Just test that out for yourself. It depends on what kind of PC you have, obviously, so that's pretty much that. Render resolution 100%. Let's be real, you don't want your shit to look pixelated. We're not playing Minecraft, but we're playing Call of Duty. Display resolution 1920 by 1080, that's my native. Aspect ratio, leave it on automatic, or 16 by 9 or 16 by 10. It's one of those two. Colorblind modes, this is what a lot of people ask me, so here it is. I have it disabled, but I have enemies marked as pink. The reason for this is because I get to see them a lot better, and usually there's like a little dot above their head, so I basically go for the head. Either pink or blue unless you're colorblind, so that's pretty much that. Field of view 120, the higher you go the less FPS you get, so a little tip for you guys. ADS field of view affected. Brightness, I have this on 70. It's all depending on your monitor in real life, don't mind that. Frame rate limit, I know sometimes you could just have it unlimited, but for me 200, 60, 60 works just fine for me. Here we go here. Now the lower you go, the more frames you will get, just know that. So texture quality high, model high, basically all these are high, especially effects quality high, screen space reflection. Now this one, I just want my game to look a little decent, so I have it on low, but usually you can disable this. Object view distance, I have it on high. Water tessellation enabled, I just want my game to look a little decent, like I said, so I have that enabled, but you can disable that if you have a lower end PC. Volumetric lighting, I have that on high. Shadow quality low, this takes up a lot of VRAM, which takes up your frames, so I have this on low. Dynamic shadows disabled. Special effect shadows, I have that enabled. Weapon shadow disabled. And ray tracing, unless you want your game to look like top tier good, you're not going to get the most performance, so you do want this disabled if you know you're playing competitive and stuff like that. And plus the game looks still decent without it. The only time I would turn this on is if I'm playing campaign or something like that. I would have it like on medium or some shit, but that's pretty much the only time I'll use it. NVIDIA DLSS, I have that disabled. Anti-aliasing medium. Ambient occlusion quality low. Motion blur, this is very pointless. I don't know why it's even in the game. You want that disabled. Motion blur quality low. Subsurface scattering disabled. Order independent transparency low. I want my game to look a little decent, like I said. VRAM usage target, keep that at 90. Make sure you're using computer S.R.I.B.E. unless you have a TV, then you can try this out, but if it doesn't work out, just go back to computer. And just make sure you have your NVIDIA, whatever your graphics card selected. I'm using the RTX 2080 Super 8 gigs or 8 megabytes, whatever it is, and that's pretty much that. So audio, I keep this at 100, but since I'm recording, I'm keeping it low because you can hear all that like sound effects in the back. Dialogue, I don't need all this. Audio preset, Treyarch mix, hit marker sound effects enabled. Sometimes I like to use classic, it just sounds a little bit better sometimes, but default is usually what it's at. I use my Yeti, and basically all this is just up to you right here, and that's pretty much it. So I'm making this video as quick as possible so I can get y'all all situated, and plus I'm gonna do a Vanguard video after this one, so you know I gotta get to it, you know. Usually you want your FPS counter on because you just want to know how much you're getting, and if you do experience bugs and lags and issues like this, you want to know what the problem is. All right, so it could be your packet loss, it could be your FPS loss. You just always want to know what the situation is. Also, you do want GPU temperatures on, so because it also does affect your game if it is completely fucking hot. So we have all that situated. Make sure you copy whatever I have shown because it does help you out. Input device icons, I have that hidden. In game alert icons enabled. I want to know what my problem is when I experience problems. So if this video did help you guys out, make sure you guys do leave a like, subscribe, and if you guys are interested in the Vanguard tutorial, that will be next after this, or you guys can go check that out. It'll probably be up by then. But yeah, thank you for watching. I love you, and I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. Peace.